Yo, 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 NSA Bulls podcast. We are back. Summer League edition. Summertime, that is. It's July.
Summertime.
Yeah, at this time of the year, usually it's not like a lot of content to, discuss, because there's no regular season or playoff games being played. But it's still kind of interesting. We got the draft that already happened, the NBA Summer League, post July 1st. You got a lot of trades and free agency signings that have happened. Just a lot to discuss and a lot of chaos that's happened recently. So let's go off the first thing I want to go over.
All right.
Draymond Green is back in the media for the incident that occurred last year with him and Jordan Poole.
Okay.
Jordan Poole is no longer a Golden State Warrior. Everyone is aware of that. But his dad and Draymond are verbally going into an exchange, which has become public.
Wow.
So, paraphrasing, obviously the whole punch situation didn't end just there, and
Right.
you can see it echo throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, his dad is basically calling Draymond, out, and just saying like, listen, like if I ever see you,
I wonder why though.
I think he just basically is mad at how Draymond responded to it. So Draymond, apparently, he got this podcast and he always like in the media or whatever. And he was just basically saying that like there's certain things you don't say to a grown man or whatever. And, something along those lines. I don't know where the reigniting of the conversation came from. I got to do my research on that.
Yeah.
But basically Draymond was just saying like, there was a lot of things that was said prior to him going in that way. He was like, I'm not even the kind of guy that hits his teammates unless there was a reason for it. And I think I think Jordan Poole's dad just didn't want to hear that. So he was just like, this is ridiculous, it's BS. So yeah, so they go into a verbal exchange, and it'll be interesting with Jordan Poole now that he plays for the Wizards.
It could be hit or miss. Right?
Yeah, it could be, but it'll be interesting when he come back to Golden State. What kind of crowd response will he get? Obviously, he wasn't asking to be leave the team, but he obviously did not play well, and he was one of the reasons why Golden State could not get past the Lakers and get to the conference finals. But he left not necessarily playing his best self, and he was obviously impacted by that whole incident. And now that he is on the Wizards, we don't know what can happen out of that. I'm still kind of shocked that Golden State did not decide to run it back with him.
Yeah.
Being a young player.
And then even more, they pick up Chris Paul.
Yeah. I did not see that come. I don't think anybody saw that coming. It's such a surprise. You got Chris Paul.
Probably happy though. Chris Paul probably happy though.
He might be. I think he had this twilight of his career. He listen, I might have 1 or 2 years left in the league in terms of optimal performance or good performance. And, he's got a long track record of just not only, obviously he's aging, but just not being healthy at the right time.
Yeah.
So if I'm Golden State, probably don't play him as much until, we get closer to the playoffs, just so he can get that rhythm. And it sounds crazy because I always counterproductive of what I initially say all the time is I hate load managing. But a guy like him, he got to be putting bubble wrap because he always getting hurt the wrong time. So
I know he's secretly happy that he's on Golden State.
He's I finally got it. Well, he had a shot with Phoenix.
Yeah.
But they were a new team gluing together, so I didn't think they was gonna make any noise, even with Kevin Durant on there. Because it was this mid-season acquisition. Just so many things that have to happen for you to win.
Speaking Phoenix Suns though, they're doing a lot over there. They're probably not even going. They're doing a lot. We're gonna see how that turn out.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting to see what they do and how they fill the void for Chris Paul not being there, and how does that look for KD and Devin Booker.
Bradley Beal.
Yeah, and they got Bradley Beal. Thank you for enlightening me because it's so much was going on that some things just slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
And talking about Bradley Beal, I remember I was talking with some mutual friends and people all over social media. And I was just didn't understand why he would re-sign back with the Wizards. I'm like, okay, you got your money, you got the bag, you can go somewhere else. And people was like, he got to secure the bag. I'm like, he already secured the bag twice over. I mean, it's like his third max contract. But all in all, it worked out for him. He got his money. He's able to leave Wizards because he wasn't going to win anything, not even come close to winning. So now he's there, and they're formidable talent-wise.
Yeah.
But how is it going to work?
I can't see it.
I can't. It looks appealing, but this ain't the first time Kevin Durant been on the team.
It don't
he
look
got
appealing. Who's the point guard?
Exactly. Cameron Payne. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to work, but they do need a floor general just like we do. We're going to talk about our Bulls in a second here, but continuing with Phoenix, they got some. I mean, Kevin Durant. Let's talk about him for a second. This is like his fourth team that he's been on, where he's got like all NBA talent around him. Mm-hmm. You know, we talking the Brooklyn Nets, that didn't work. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma City, and then obviously he had success with Golden State. Right. So he's had a lot of talent he's played with, a lot of talent. And you're like, man.
And then I was gonna say, did you hear about that comedian that was going at it with
Ryan Davis?
Yeah.
Ryan Davis, he definitely
flamed him.
He flamed him hard, man. Talking about some offense win championships. I don't know why Kevin Durant.
He just needs to not be on social media if he's gonna be doing that shit. Yeah.
Ryan fighting pretty bad.
Yeah, because he creates his own problems. Low-key.
Sometimes you wonder, like, okay, you know this guy's a comedian. You know he's gonna dig up all the information necessary to basically destroy you.
He brought up everything.
He threw the kitchen sink at him. My thing is, I've been wondering, dude, like, when those exchanges happen, are they authentic, or is it like, this is good to get the comedian more publicity? Because Kevin Durant don't need it. Kevin Durant, like, is it like Kevin Durant like that? I just looking out for you.
Kevin Durant should have never even said anything.
He shouldn't have, but I was like, Kevin Durant, that's a normal stat. That's a normal response.
He gave him an opportunity to shine.
He did. That's a normal response, though, that when somebody says defense wins championships. So for him to say offense wins championships. Now, granted, his experience supersedes anybody's opinion, right? But even from those who've been on the court as long, or if not longer than him, would say defense wins championships. So I just sometimes, when I take a step back from the exchanges, I'll be like, was this like a marketing scheme, like for Ryan to like get a little, because Ryan is already popular, right? But for him to get more popular, like, I don't know, or am I just overthinking?
So you think Kevin Durant was part of the ploy?
Sometimes I do think like that. I don't know if this situation was.
He got a percent. He got something in return.
No, sometimes it don't even be like. Sometimes he might just be looking out for him. Like, hey, like, you know, this can help out.
I don't know.
You just never know, because he's like,
where you getting that from?
I'm not. I was thinking about it.
Oh, he just randomly just help him out like that.
Because Kevin Durant has shown through social media that he'll exchange with anybody.
Yeah, but
whether he wrong or not, like he will exchange. Like, he's not like other people in his like limelight where they would just like not respond to you. Like, you know, they got fans, and you know.
So you think that's part of his clause in his contract?
Well, I think like sometimes Kevin Durant strikes me as the kind of guy that he just don't care about what people think.
Right.
But in the process of not caring, he's willing to put himself out there to possibly get flamed. Because like think about it, like, you talking about a comedian, not just a regular Joe Schmo. You talking about an actual comedian. This is what they do.
It gotta be some real.
It's like a pro.
Gotta be some real behind the scenes shit going on.
Sometimes I do think
if he's purposely making himself vulnerable like that.
I don't know. But that's just speculation. Nothing is factual fact. But yeah, and then let's talk about the other free agency signings. You started off with a bang with the whole Bradley Beal situation. Fred VanVleet, wish we got him. Yeah. He's now a Houston Rocket. The Rockets acquired a couple of pieces. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, Fred VanVleet now is with the Houston Rockets now. Houston Rockets trying to make a resurgence. You know, they had a couple down years with James Harden not being there, and you know, and Yeah, so let's just see how that turned out for him, because right now I think Fred VanVleet was just looking for the money, and getting some max money out there, because there's a lot of money going out in the league right now. I believe Kyrie re-signed back with Dallas.
Yeah.
So that's not much of a shocker. He was only there for a little bit, so, And what else has happened? What else has happened on a major thing? James Harden's trying to see if he can go back to Houston. I'm hearing about that. I don't know. James Harden is... I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes you always feel like, does he really care about winning? And I don't think he really care about winning like that much. It's what it is with him. What else has happened? Damian Lillard. I mean, everybody's wondering what is going to happen with that situation. Nothing has occurred as of yet. The man just celebrated his 33rd birthday not too long ago. And, I mean...
3 possible choices.
What will be those choices?
Only 3. There's only 3 choices. He stays, he goes to Miami, or something random happens and he goes to another team.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know what other team would fit for him other than Miami. I'm hearing like rumblings that, like, what about Philadelphia? What about New York? And I'm like, I can't see a guy like him spending all those years in Portland where they were, the closest they got was Western Conference Series, Western Conference Championship. Round it is. But I can't see a guy like him just making a lateral move. He's trying to make a move that will put him closer to winning a championship. Not a lateral one like, I go to New York. That's a lateral move. Like, who in New York can help you get to that next level? And their culture is not necessarily championship personified. So I mean, to me, it just looks like Miami would be clear-cut in everyone's eyes for the most part. The leading candidate to get him, but would that put them over the hump? Coming off the fact that they just went to the finals, would that put them over the hump? And they would have to give up a lot to get him. Some pieces Miami already have already let go. I think Gabe Vincent now plays for the Lakers now.
Okay.
That's a big piece the Lakers are getting. Point guard, really nice knockdown shooter. He performed exceptional, and the Lakers see him as an asset that can help them out. I don't know how that'll work out with them with D'Angelo Russell in that point guard spot. So a lot of things remain to be seen. Questions about that. But let's talk about these Bulls real quick. The Bulls acquired 2 pieces that are not household names. So a lot of people are like, whatever, not a big deal. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not upset if anybody has that response. But I will say these 2 guys can help us in what we do lack, and that's defense and that's mentality. We're not a team that lacks talent. We're a team that lacks mentality and defense. And I personally feel the Chicago Bulls going to next season, in order for them to be their best self, Zach LaVine has to be an all-NBA player, first team or second team, for the entire year. Last year, going into the season, it was knee soreness, and it was like, you just got to sign a contract. And then people was like, you just got the most money that anybody in Bulls history ever got. And they were talking about, we're going to send him out one game and play him one game. And people was like, that's ridiculous for the amount of money you just paid for him, right? And eventually, as the season go on, he started playing the back-to-backs. But he wasn't playing at that elite level that you would expect him to, that his talent and the money he got paid expected him to play at. But he picked it up once Patrick Beverley got there, and we no longer have Patrick Beverley. The Bulls chose not to re-sign him back. So the thing is that he started to become more of what we need of him, and then DeRozan was feeding off of him. I think when I look back at it, DeRozan was showing him the way of how to be a guy that brings it every night, right? But Billy's coaching strategy to me wasn't necessarily conducive to where you like, okay, this is how we're going to run it for the first year, but then we want Levine to kind of take heed to that and start going into that role, especially when you're paying him that kind of money, right? Clearly, DeRozan has way more experience, in general speaking, winning playoffs, whatever we want to call it, right? But DeRozan cannot be our best player every night. Now, he could be our best player a lot of nights, but I don't think he should be our best player every single night if you're going to pay Zach LaVine that kind of money.
Right.
So I would like to see, as a fan, Zach LaVine bringing the energy we need that he brought in the second half, especially when he realized he wasn't making an All-Star team. Because I think that also played a part in him. Like, damn, I'm not making an All-Star team. And at some point that's not on the cards. But I also think that going into the next season, that's going we need him to do that all year round, be more consistent with that. But the two pieces I'm gonna talk about, you got Javon Carter, hometown Chicago guy. He back home in Chicago, and he played for Milwaukee. He played for a winning franchise, and he knows how to play tough defense. His game to me is very similar to Miami Heat's point guard that now play for the Lakers. Gabe Vincent. About the same similar size, similar build, knockdown shooters. They're gonna play hard all the entire time out there, and they whatever they lack in athletic gifts, they make up for in the intensity, and that's what I think is gonna help us out. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna get us to a championship level, but I think we're gonna be better off next season versus what we were last year, because last year was terrible. With the expectations we had. So, what's your take? What's your take on what you think? Because obviously I didn't mention Torrey Craig yet. Yeah, Torrey Craig's another guy.
Yeah, Torrey Craig. He's from where?
Torrey Craig's from Phoenix.
Right.
He's got a good wingspan to him.
Oh yeah.
Good defender.
Yeah, he's decent. He's solid.
Yeah.
He's solid.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like it's some good pieces though.
Yeah. I think they can help complement the talent we already have. And like I said, I don't think our talent is, in the championship rankings. What I do believe, though, is I think our talent right now,
second tier.
Yeah, and I think our talent, when it's all focused and driven in, I think our talent and our mindset, if it's right, can really make it difficult for teams that are championship contending. If we see a Miami Heat, we can force a 6-game or 7-game series, right? We can put ourselves in a position where, you never know in playoff series. A guy can get injured and then your team can just be that team that can get through. Right. You just needed that one little break.
Right.
But if we just got to focus on closing that gap, because we don't have a superstar level player on our team that's just a for sure. You got KD, you got a LeBron, you got a Luka. We don't have a guy like that, but we do have guys that can make those other guys work.
Right.
If Zach LaVine and DeRozan and all of them, which they're highly capable to do, every night go out there and play A-level basketball to their best abilities, you could come out the season 4th seed. 4th seed, you facing a 5th seeded team, you win that first round. Then you seeing the bigger dogs in that second round who are championship contending, like the Phillies and the Miami Heats, the Boston Celtics. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like when I look at those other teams, and then it's some shink in some of those teams' armor now too. Like, if Philly don't get Harden back, what does that look like? Right? Marcus Smart no longer plays for Boston. They lost a defensive anchor there. So you're wondering, okay, with those extra pieces gone, what does the landscape for the Eastern Conference look like? And do you really think Miami Heat can duplicate what they just did this last year, where they just go to back-to-back finals? Now, they went to the finals in the bubble, but this year no one expected them to go, especially when they had such a terrible season. Then they went from, playing in the play-in tournament all the way to the finals.
They did what Boston did last year.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you just never know. But I do believe if the Bulls could really just hone in and focus, and the coaching can get better, you just never know how they can turn itself out. But
It's true.
yeah, these are not household names. It's not something real sexy where you're like, man, I can envision it now. 30 points from this guy. Like no. Javon Carter's an outside knockdown shooter. He's a tenacious defender. He plays hard, and he's gonna have that pride playing from Chicago. From Chicago.
It don't
So
feel good.
yeah,
Coming on court.
yeah, and he knows what it looks like to win. In terms of being on a winning culture. You bring in winning culture over. Caruso was benefited off that. He came over to the Bulls. He saw what winning looked like. He had won a championship ring, and then he bringing that kind of energy. And that's kind of what it takes. Unfortunately for us, our best players never experienced that. The role players have.
Right.
Usually in reverse, your best players experience that. Role players don't. And then the best players are pulling the role players into that. And they're like, this is what winning looks like because I've been there. Right. Unfortunately, it's the complete opposite for the Chicago Bulls. So that's our situation. And then from that standpoint, the Bulls re-signed Vooch. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Some people was like, I wish they didn't re-sign him. I'm like, well, he was third in the league in double-doubles. Yeah. He's a good player. Problem is the coaching again. Because I was getting really upset with Vooch with shooting all those damn threes that he was shooting. But I was just like, all right, I'm starting to realize it's not Vooch, it's the coach.
It is.
Our coach is really like our weakest link. If our coach can step his coaching game up, or if we got a better coach, we would be in much better positions than we are.
I think so too.
Yeah. So what you think, man? Going into the season, are you really hopeful? Or what you think about this upcoming season?
Let me see. For this season,
Yeah.
I think that I'm not going to get my hopes up on a big season for the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
But I think similar to last year, the games are going to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always going to be good to watch the games or even go to the games.
Yeah.
But as far as hopes for them to be like a top team in the NBA, I don't see that. Maybe like even saying 5th seed is a stretch, right? But I give them like 6th seed.
Six seed.
6th seed. Yeah.
Well, they finished 6th seed the year before last, and they avoided the play-in. And this year they was like basically 1 minute away from getting back in the 8th seed. So the thing with them is, that's not a bad assessment. That's not a bad take.
They damn near was one position away for not even being in the play-in. So they would have been like, what, the 11th seed?
Mm-hmm.
They almost could have been the 11th
Exactly.
seed because they were the 10th seed.
Exactly. But I hope they learn a lesson going into this season that you cannot take games for granted. You cannot blow leads. I know they didn't want to blow leads. So it's not like I'm saying like they just decided they didn't want to play.
I hope they learn from it.
But their energy has to be 100% all in. And that might be hard to do day in and day out, game in, game out, but you have to put forth that effort because that little slippage where you go from 10th seed to 11th seed to now you hop back into where you can get in the play-in, but then you lose and then you eventually, don't make the playoffs. Like, you look back at the season, you're like, well, we lost 15 to 20 games just not closing the deal.
Did this to ourselves.
Exactly. It was mainly self-inflicted. There's a lot of times like the game was in the balance. The game was ours for the taking, and we didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So, and then you just saw what Patrick Beverley was able to do. Hold people accountable. I just hope going to next season, some of that rubs off, even though he no longer is there. But that accountability piece has to be there. And, the other thing that obviously everybody likes to talk about is Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball. The man is taking all these pictures on Instagram. He having a good old time. He look healthy to me. Now, obviously, that's not on the court, but that always grind my gears when I see guys, literally just looking like life is so good, but I don't play. Life is great, but I don't play, and I got my money though. So, to me, I have to hold back because I'm like, they're allowed to have a life. Clearly, these are human beings at the end of the day, but you just sometimes be looking like, man, I see you in suits when I see you on the court. You know, there'll be, you know, what his trademark. What we talked about earlier. He just clapping. That's all he do. He just clap. You know, that's all you do with his clapping. So I just, you know, hearing that he not gonna be back next season, I think it's time that the Chicago Bulls let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go. You know, and we can find other pieces that may not be as good as him, but at least they're playing. Because the best ability is availability. So we need to get that going on. And I think the earlier they do it, the chemistry can be built for later in the season. But I feel like the Bulls need to pull that trigger quick because they can't wait until game 40 and they decide to do something. I feel like to me, the Bulls' DNA is that they want to be calculated, but they also can waste too much time. The Bulls can certainly waste time at times in these kind of situations. So, you know, hopefully they decide to pull the trigger on this soon, you know. But I'm not a GM. I'm not the guy in the office. I just look at it like, you know, what's the purpose of what do you remain in hope for? Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't even think at some point he is hurt as it's coming off. You know, because I won't be surprised if he get let go, then all of a sudden he able to play somewhere else. Now they're saying that his injury is so severe that he may not be able to play again. That's what they're saying.
Well,
but
he better not be playing if he goes somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the thing. You just never know with these guys sometimes because the contracts are guaranteed, the money is good, life is great. And, you know, just I can see it now where they let him go, and then a year later, all of a sudden, he's healthy enough. He take a year off again, and then he's like, all of a sudden, another team pick him up, and he's back in somebody's roster, and he's hooping now. Right. And you're like, well, why couldn't you have done that for the Bulls? Because right now, so far, this is going to be year 4 that he's supposed to be playing with the Chicago Bulls. That's how fast time go by. Because they signed him in 2021, all 2021, 2022, 2023. 2022 season, was the first season. 2023 was the second season. 2024 coming up was the third season. So I'm off by 1 year. But 3 years, and we only got 39 games played. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens, though. But any other things you would like to add in?
That is a shame. That is a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he's healthy. For the sake of his health, you know, him as a person. Yeah. But at some point, it's a little too much. That's how I look at it. You got to cut your losses, and you got to, move on, you know, if it's like that, you know. So, yeah, it's going to be a second consecutive year that he's not played an entire game. I mean, not one game in the whole season.
That's crazy.
You know, so they already ruled him out. They said 2024 he's not playing. I'd be like, 2024, calling your agent, and we find a way to get you back the contracts.
2024.
Yeah, exactly. Because we can't continue this. Because you got a DeMar DeRozan that's still elite, but he's not 28 years old no more. Right. Okay. You got a Zach LaVine who is 28 years old, right? This is supposed to be Zach LaVine's prime right now. This is why I get a little upset with Zach, because Zach's like, this is the time. You got the money now. The athleticism is still there. You got a couple of knee injuries that he's had in the past with the ACL and stuff like that, you know. But he still can play at an elite level. We don't have a super young team. We got a mix. We got young core guys, and we got top guys that have been in the league 12, 13, 14 years like Vooch. So we need to strike what we can. I'm happy we signed Andre Drummond back. Happy we got him back. You know, and he's another guy. I mean, 13, 14 years in the league. He's been in the league for a long time now. You know, so we got to strike while we can with the type of pieces we have around us. And, we'll just see how it can all manifest itself out, you know, going into the next season. But I just need them to be more focused and driven for the next year. So,
hopefully.
Yeah. But I think that's a wrap, y'all.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate y'all listening in. Tune in. Obviously, as the season goes and comes closer, we'll be shooting more episodes out. But right now, we're just in the summertime vibes right now. And, you know, Summer League just ended. Obviously, the Chicago Bulls had a good turnout with that. Dalen Terry played pretty well. Hopefully we see him more on the court. Right. You know, let's just have the utmost optimism with the Chicago Bulls, but we'll just see what happens in the next season, and we'll tune in. And I'll keep giving y'all our opinions and our takes on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, till next time, NSA Bulls podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.